Coming up on CBC Vancouver News.
This is one of the largest evacuation events that BC has experienced in recent years.
As the risk of wildfires grow, why some evacuees say they need more support.
They are almost forgotten.
Plus,
It's smoky every year, but it's a lot more smoky this year.
Hard on your psyche. It's hard on your emotions.
wildfire smoke continues to grip parts of the province as air quality in BC's interior reaches hazardous levels. And
this year, we're at about 1,000 pounds so far after only 4 picks.
how Richmond volunteers are using surplus fruit to feed those in need.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Janella Hamilton. Thanks for joining us. As the risk of wildfires grow in BC, Canada's military remains on standby to assist. The province has yet to call in the troops, but it has asked Ottawa to help provide accommodations for thousands of evacuees. And as Katie DeRosa reports, it comes as some say they are not getting the support they need.
20,000 people forced from their homes in 51 evacuation orders across the province. Another 10,000 more ready to leave at a moment's notice if the flames reach their doorstep.
This is one of the largest evacuation events in BC that BC has experienced in recent years.
The province has declared a BC-wide state of emergency as more than 100 active fires burn, destroying homes and claiming the life of an 80-year-old woman. But in an update on Tuesday, the province says it's not yet time to call in the military. BC's Emergency Management Minister says Ottawa has been asked to help secure accommodations for wildfire evacuees.
We need the assistance for additional accommodations. We have a large number of people evacuated from Summerland, the absolutely devastating fires there, and we want to make sure that we're able to support people in the coming days and weeks.
BC last called in the armed forces to assist with wildfire response in 2023 to provide logistical and air support. The province said on Monday alone it fielded 3,000 calls from evacuees with questions on how to access emergency supports. The head of Dignidad Migrant Society says the province's emergency supports are not reaching some of the farm workers evacuated from Summerland.
They are almost forgotten.
Those at designated evacuation centers are receiving support, but those taking shelter in private homes say they've been left without money for groceries and living expenses. CBC spoke to one migrant worker from Mexico staying in a home with 11 others. He says he already sent money home to his family, leaving him with very little to live off.
Mexican firefighters are coming to help BC and Canada to stop the wildfires. But the Mexican people who work here is not able to get support.
The province says any wildfire evacuees can receive support regardless of their immigration status, and that anyone looking for assistance should call the helpline at 1-800-387-4258. Katie DeRosa, CBC News, Victoria.
As wildfires continue to burn in the Okanagan, officials say smoky conditions there are helping in the fire fight. But as Brady Strachan reports, experts warn long-term smoke can have a lingering impact on people's health.
With fires burning nearby, the Kelowna area has been under orange air quality warnings for weeks. On Tuesday, it's especially bad, with people waking up to a thick blanket of smoke and ash coating their windshields and patio furnitures. And now many are doing what I do to go about their day, putting on face masks just to not breathe in all this smoke.
I've been going swimming a lot, seeing a lot of movies in the theater.
CJ Stores is trying to make the best out of his summer vacation in Kelowna. For him, that means replacing trips to the beach with a swim at this indoor pool. He's one of hundreds of people here trying to make the best of a smoky situation.
I mean, it's smoky every year, but it's a lot more smoky this year.
Much of the smoke is coming from the Bald Ridge fire burning just 30 minutes to the south near Summerland. Monday evening, large plumes of thick smoke billowed up into the sky, creating a low gray fog that darkened the valley. By Tuesday, the Kelowna area had among the worst air quality in the world, and experts warn prolonged exposure can contribute to short and long-term health impacts, from asthma attacks to dementia.
Multiple years of exposure increase the risk of stroke or increase the risk of kind of having these severe outcomes. So not just exacerbating existing conditions, but leading to the development of these new health conditions.
Back in Kelowna, locals and visitors alike say they just want it to end.
We're staying indoors mostly and doing what we can to go inside places and have fun where we can.
Hard on your psyche. It's hard on your emotions. And it's hard on not being able to get out and hug a tree or get out and do something.
Ironically, fire officials say this choking blanket of smoke is actually suppressing aggressive fire behavior.
It is helping to ensure that the wildfires do not receive clean oxygen. And because every time we see the air clear, like we saw in Summerland on Friday night, we see significant and extreme to explosive fire behavior.
A suffocating silver lining in an already long summer. Brady Strachan, CBC News, Kelowna.
A wildfire information officer with the Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen has been live streaming updates to keep people informed. And when danger got too close to home, Eric Thompson fled for Penticton with his family and his phone.
We're heading south. There's a lot of traffic back up right now. And I understand that people want information.
I phoned our EOC director and said, I think I might go back on the live stream while I'm driving because I abruptly left the live stream and said I have to go evacuate my home.
I'm leaving the Emergency Operations Center right now because there is a chance that where I live may be impacted by the wildfire as far as an order. The order could be expanding.
And I did some posting from home and did some coordinating and quickly drove south to Penticton. And then just one of the first things I did was said, let's get on YouTube and start a live stream because we realized that this was a really big situation.
Pretty much everyone in Summerland is impacted by this wildfire, and I'll just turn you around there and show you what's going on. But right now there are people all trying to get out of this area.
Getting information out on something like this was going to be key, and you know, normally what we would end up doing is some sort of an information release and put that out and maybe a social media post, and that just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like we were going to be able to get the information out fast enough. We have the technology, so I said let's use it.
At this point right now, people are basically just doing everything they can, getting what they need, and heading out.
What I went through was absolutely nothing like what other people went through. There was no flames, there was no harrowing experience, there was nothing like that. But for me, it was just a matter of changing from providing information to now being part of that and having to switch gears and make sure my family was safe.
You need to leave your property.
What I want it to be about is what we're doing is probably, it's not cutting edge, but we're using the technology to make sure people get the information they need in real time.
The area is under an order, and that means out of an abundance of caution, people shouldn't be here.
Steve, some very scary situations surrounding these wildfires that we're seeing here in BC.
Absolutely, Janella. Right now, what we do see is still a very rapidly developing situation with the wildfires. Here in BC, still the southern areas of the province that are under the highest fire danger. We see part of that in the Caribou Fire Centre, in the Kamloops Fire Centre, and in the southeast. And we do have some changing conditions to contend with as well. Over the next day or so, we can see the smoke kind of moving away from the interior and over to western parts of BC, the southwestern parts of Vancouver Island, because of a trough and elongated area of low pressure that's changing the weather systems and changing the weather conditions and pushing some of that smoke towards us, likely to last through the weekend as we get a little bit closer to Saturday and Sunday. But some rain in the forecast, especially as we get through the midweek point. Accumulations not too high, but it is something could help to clear the air. We'll talk a bit more about that and the 5-day later in the show.
Thanks so much, Steve. Throughout this year's wildfires in BC, CBC News has been covering powerful, urgent, and often highly emotional stories of those affected by tragedy. It can often be a difficult experience for reporters having to capture moments of human trauma and suffering. To give us some insight into how the explosive fires are affecting residents across the province is Ben Nelms, a photojournalist here at CBC who recently came back from the Summerland area where we know there is a large wildfire. Ben, thanks so much for taking the time.
Well, my pleasure.
Now, I really want to launch into how you go about choosing the photos that you take.
Yeah, I tend to look at it slightly differently. I tend to look at it as knowing what not to take a photo of. I find that's easier, especially when you cover wildlife or wildfires and traumatic events. It can be very overwhelming. And there's a lot going on, and it's very easy just to stop and sort of just look around, and you kind of get into a hypnotic state. I tend to try and focus by just looking for that human element. That human element is so important for photojournalism, and it's really what transforms simple documentation into something that's enduring and can resonate with our audience.
Are you looking for specific moments? Are you looking for specific emotions?
Yeah, I try to get as close as possible to the people in the photograph. People is really what drives stories, and pictures without people are just postcards, and I'm not here to make postcards. I tend to be attracted to human interaction and how people are affected by wildfire. So not just showing the smoke and the flames, but showing how this is affecting people and communities.
And you have spent some time near Summerland where we have a very large wildfire that has been quite dynamic, lots of evacuation orders, thousands of residents being told to leave at a moment's notice. Let's start with your first photo here, and you can talk to us a little bit about what exactly is in this photo and you know, just describe to us what this is.
This is a photo that I took quite early on Saturday morning. I got there quite early into Summerland, and that's very important in this business, is that you have to be there when everything's happening. You can't be late, and if you're late, you're not going to be able to get close enough. This photo was taken on a ridge that I found that was safe, had a good exit plan, because in situations like this, you always need to be thinking about safety. But you're also there to do a job. You're also there to show the public what's going on and show them things that they cannot see. This was a ridge in Summerland where the fire was coming down, and there was local fire crews and BC wildfire crews trying to contain that so it doesn't hit the homes. And they were quite successful with it when I was there.
And let's take a look at your second photo here. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about how difficult is it for you to take these photos personally?
Yeah, a camera is a magnificent tool, and you know, it doesn't only just take pictures for me, it also helps me sort of shield from those moments and focus on things that, you know, sort of take my mind away from being in the moment too much, because I'm a very empathetic person, I'm very sensitive, and I find that walking that line between documenting and also being very empathetic to the subjects is very important. So I use that as a tool to do that.
So here we have a photo of a young girl on a scooter, obviously with the mask, I'm assuming because of the smoke?
Yeah, because of the smoke. And this is just a sense of place that I'm trying to convey to the audience. We're all aware, or people that go to Penticton know of this peach, mostly because it's, you know, right on the boardwalk and right on the lake. In this time, I'm showing people, you know, the unexpected and sort of how people go on with their daily lives, even dealing with these fires that are just kilometers away.
And finally, let's bring up your last photo here. This is one that really, really touched my heart. You know, we see the anguish, we see the pain in this gentleman's face and surrounded by goats. Give us some context on this.
Yeah, well, I think the reason that the audience resonates, people resonate with this photo, is because it tells a story in one image, which is, you know, like a reporter tries to tell the story in one line, the lead. I'm trying to tell the story in one single frame. You know, the smoke-filled air, the emotion of the evacuees, and the animals that are really caught up in the middle of it all. It's very powerful to see everyone come together, and this is just a moment that happened.
And this was actually taken where?
This was outside the evacuation center in Penticton.
where you saw both animals and humans.
There was animals, trailers of horses, and you know, the people that own this livestock, and that is their goal of trying to save them.
Yeah, because these wildfires affect much more than just people.
Yep.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you
no
so
problem.
much for your time and, of course, for putting yourself out into the world, into these somewhat dangerous situations.
My pleasure.
After the break, how Richmond volunteers are using surplus fruit to help feed those in need. The body of a 13-year-old girl who is presumed to have drowned at Cultus Lake over the weekend has been recovered. Police say the teen was on a paddleboard Saturday when it's believed she suffered a medical emergency. She was not wearing a life jacket and fell off the board into the water. Cultus Lake RCMP recovery team spent days searching the lake before finding her body Monday. The investigation has now been turned over to the BC Coroner Service. Surrey Mayor Brenda Locke has announced the final 2 council candidates for her slate, Surrey Connect, which will see 4 of its councillors and the mayor seek re-election this fall.
2 community leaders who have the experience necessary to join City Council and make a real difference to Surrey residents.
Former City Councillor Vera Lafranc and lawyer Michael Dunn were introduced Tuesday afternoon. Locke now has a full slate of 8 council candidates behind her. So far, 6 candidates have announced their intentions to run for mayor of Surrey. An affordable housing project years in the making is now under construction in Vancouver's downtown east side. Member of Parliament for Vancouver Centre Hetty Fry was there as shovels hit the ground.
The program is funding today's announcement unlocks a solution. It brings together developers, non-profits, government partners to build the affordable rental housing that's missing in far too many cities, especially here in Vancouver.
The project at 172 East Cordova Street will cost more than $96 million to build. It will have 118 rental units. Nearly 80 of those will be for middle-income households, while about 40 are considered more affordable for people on income assistance. The building will also include a UBC Learning Exchange and community theatre. It's summer harvest season, and you've probably seen trees producing lots of figs and apples in your neighborhood. A nonprofit in Richmond is collecting that surplus from public lands and people's backyard to redistribute them to those in need. Pinky Wong has more.
Volunteers like Bruno Vernier are harvesting crab apples at London Heritage Farm in Richmond.
I dislike waste generally in every form, so this seems like such a low-hanging, pardon the pun, low-hanging fruit.
They are gathering the surplus to reduce food waste. He has been volunteering in the fruit recovery program for more than a decade. He says the redistribution helps with food security within the city.
Those who have a real hard time getting good nutrition have access to local, fresh fruits is something that Richmond has in abundance.
The London Heritage Farm Society says their fruit trees have been with them since the 1880s.
They've been planted by the London family. First thing they did was planted the perimeter with the fruits they are going to can. So these fruits are especially canning fruits.
He says they are grateful the fruits can be shared amid high grocery costs.
I grow a lot of my own vegetables and potatoes, etc. But of course I have to buy things from the store, and I'm shocked how high the prices are.
Urban Bounty collects from dozens of fruit tree owners in the summer months.
Some of the homeowners may inherit the trees and not know anything about them or about fruit trees or how to manage them or take care of them. Some of the trees are quite large and quite oversized just because they don't know how to kind of keep them pruned or maintained.
She says the program has been collecting thousands of pounds of fruits since 2004.
This year, we're at about 1,000 pounds so far after only 4 picks.
Crab apples. The Richmond Food Bank Society is among organizations redistributing the bounty.
It is the partnerships that allow us to make sure that every client that comes to the food bank is able to receive a good balance of perishable as well as non-perishable food.
She says the number of households visiting the food bank has increased by almost 11% compared to the start of the year. Pinky Wong, CBC News, Richmond.
A beautiful, clear evening in downtown Vancouver. We'll have a look at your full BC-wide forecast coming up.
help.
There is significant movement tonight on a potential trade deal between Canada and the United States. Sources tell CBC News top officials are hoping to get a proposal on the U.S. president's desk as early as Monday. Kate McKenna now on the push to get it across the finish line.
How are you feeling going in?
I always feel good.
Canada's U.S. trade minister saying little heading into a meeting with his American counterpart, their third in 3 weeks, marking the end of an impasse and maybe momentum.
It's quite possible that things will get tougher this week. That often happens near the end, and that sometimes can be a good sign.
Minister, how close are we to a deal?
About an hour later, Dominic LeBlanc emerged, offering no details.
We all have something to say when the moment's right.
But sources tell CBC News Canadian and American officials are working on a proposal to present to U.S. President Donald Trump early next week, right before new 50% tariffs kick in on some $28 billion in Canadian exports.
We won't know until we see what has actually been proposed, but I would be surprised if our Canadian federal government is prepared to make further concessions without getting something in return.
Canada's looking for a comprehensive deal that would see the new tariffs thrown out and some sort of agreement on existing tariffs on steel, aluminum, auto, and lumber. But the list of American grievances seems ever-changing, with a Trump advisor now calling out scallops being fished in Canadian waters near the state of Maine.
They were taken from the Georges banks just about the amount we import from Canada, driving up our trade deficit, and we couldn't take scallops on our side of the Georges banks. That's crazy stuff.
But this expert says Canada has leverage, especially ahead of the fall's U.S. midterms.
Canada absolutely does have leverage. It's also an election year in the United States. The election main messages are around affordability and really high energy costs here in the United States. I think that's why we're seeing a good faith negotiation, it appears, going on with the U.S.
That's Kate McKenna reporting. An airport in Kingston, Ontario is about to start testing a major change to how it handles air traffic control, and artificial intelligence will play a big role. Elise Sakura explains how it works.
From the outside, it's pretty clear. This is not the air traffic control tower you're used to, because controllers are elsewhere, maybe even in another city.
But you can start seeing movement, so it helps our air traffic controllers and our traffic services staff be able to pick out the things that are relevant to them.
NAV Canada says this is the future, remote air traffic control with new high-tech features.
It's the same level of service that we end up providing. Essentially, all we're doing is we're taking the visual view of someone looking out of a window, replacing that with a digital view onto screens.
Super exciting time, obviously.
Ottawa's Kongsberg Geospatial designed the system and says it will provide access to services in remote community, just as it has in the home of its parent company, Norway.
As we're seeing the development and implementation of AI into more and more technology, this is another great example where the system can continue to learn, what am I looking at? What are the aircrafts? What are the weather conditions?
Travelers at the Ottawa airport aren't so sure.
Don't like it. I would rather people looking out a window.
The more you put stuff like this in, the more it screws up. All right? You need the human factor, regardless.
Hamilton Airport, with 300,000 travelers a year, will be the first fully remote location, and those air traffic controllers have been asked to move to Kingston. The union is concerned they might leave the field instead.
And attrition is only, I'll say quote unquote, only, 10 or 20%. We can't afford to lose a single air traffic controller right now in Canada.
NAV Canada says this change could be part of the solution. When fully operational, up to 15 airports could be remotely monitored from Kingston.
It provides more flexibility in our staffing in the long run.
NAV Canada says that it won't be moving to Hamilton until a year of shadow testing in Kingston shows no possible issues and until all regulatory hurdles are cleared. With the stakes for all involved so high, whether this comes to an airport near you remains up in the air. Elise Skura, CBC News, Ottawa.
In Colombia tonight, crews are racing against the clock to find survivors of Monday's powerful earthquake. At least 250 people are now confirmed dead. Karen Paul shows us the desperate search and how some remarkable rescues from the rubble.
A crying baby pulled to safety from the rubble of a collapsed apartment building. Two women trapped on an upper floor of a Pereira office building brought to the ground, grateful to be alive. 16 people trapped inside this aerial cable car cabin, also rescued after 6 long hours. All of these scenes emerging since a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake hit Colombia. But not everyone is so lucky. The death toll into the hundreds and climbing steadily since the quake first hit. This Red Cross worker says time is running out for thousands of missing people, but there may be air pockets or spaces allowing some to stay alive longer. The Colombian military is bringing medical equipment and emergency supplies, joining residents and canine search and rescue teams as they scramble through the rubble of leveled buildings, looking and listening for signs of life. After part of this hospital in Cali collapsed, some patients had to be transferred. Others are being treated on the street. Large areas around the earthquake's epicenter are heavily isolated, accessible only by airplane or boat through the jungle.
We can get to the capital city, Quibdó, but then to transport food assistance and other items of need to those communities will take time and is costly.
The mayor of Manizales says many people are in shelters, many getting their homes assessed. Maria Campo and her mother stayed at her brother's house Monday night, afraid to return home.
They've been checking with engineers who knows about it to see if the structure is affected or not.
Still, she feels lucky.
We are alive, so we have a lot of things to be grateful right now.
And as they watch the search and rescue efforts, they're praying for more moments like this one. There's people, there's life, he says. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A court in Syria has sentenced former President Bashar al-Assad and his brother to death. The sentence is unlikely to be carried out as the two are believed to be living in Russia. The Assads were convicted of murder, torture, and crimes against humanity, crimes carried out before and during a 14-year civil war that left about 500,000 Syrians dead. The verdicts are the first against the former president and members of his family. A cousin who remains in Syria was also sentenced to death today. He oversaw a crackdown on dissent that eventually sparked the civil war. The Assad regime collapsed in 2024 after an uprising that brought the current leader to power. New reports say U.S. President Donald Trump was hidden in a catering truck on a tarmac in Turkey. As Caroline Bargut reports, it was part of an elaborate plan to protect him from an Iranian assassination plot on his way home from a NATO summit in July.
When U.S. President Donald Trump left the NATO summit in Turkey last month, he said he was taking the old Air Force One for old time's sake. But according to the Washington Post, that plane was used as a decoy while the president was smuggled out of Ankara on a military flight. Trump boarded the plane and waved to cameras like normal. But you see this white catering truck, its cab was raised so that Trump and a few of his aides could sneak out the back door. Then they were shuffled off to a waiting military plane. All while reporters in the president's press pool were boarding Air Force One, believing Trump was still on the plane. One of the reporters who broke the story says they weren't the only ones who were deceived.
My understanding is there was some White House staff that did not know. This was kept close hold in a small group. And obviously the White House press corps, which reported not only in that day, but in the subsequent weeks as well, that the president had traveled on the quote unquote old Air Force One. That's simply not the case, we're told.
When the old Air Force One landed in the UK, Trump got off it as if he had never been on the military plane. This whole bait and switch was a result of a credible Iranian threat. Trump flew to Turkey for the NATO summit on a plane gifted to him by the Qataris that had been transformed into the new Air Force One. But U.S. security officials didn't want him to use it for the flight back through international airspace because it didn't have the same security features as the old Air Force One. He did, however, take the Qatari plane from the UK back to Washington. Reporters asked him about that at the time.
Were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against Air Force One?
I have a threat all the time. I'm number one on their list before you. But if I go, you go, right?
So far, the White House has not commented directly on the bait and switch to the military plane. But a spokesperson told The Post, as the president has said recently, there are many enemies of America who have their sights on him, and we use every tool at our disposal to address those threats. Caroline Bargut, CBC News, Washington.
Once again, dangerously high temperatures have returned to the United Kingdom and parts of Europe. They are in their 5th heat wave of the summer and enduring the drought and fires that go with it. Julia Chapman gives us a bird's eye view from London.
England has a reputation for being rainy and having lush green landscapes, but as you can see from here on Primrose Hill in central London, this grass has not seen rain for quite some time, and that is because England is in drought. Huge swathes of the country are under water usage restrictions, some 27 million people having to restrict their water usage. And although the temperatures here are due to peak later in the week, as of today, health authorities have put in place heat health warnings for much of England, saying that weather like this can have a really severe impact on people's health, particularly the very young and the very elderly. In fact, researchers found that in previous heat waves this summer, in May and June, some 2,700 people lost their lives because of heat-related causes, who may still be alive today if we hadn't had those temperatures. In France, the situation is even more severe. Today, parts of the country are expecting temperatures approaching 40 degrees. Again, much of that country in drought, but there, the water usage restrictions are even more severe. There are parts of France where water is being limited solely for drinking, for sanitation, healthcare, and fighting fires. Meanwhile, in Spain, the country is facing one of its worst ever wildfire seasons, and there are fears that an influx of tourists for the solar eclipse tomorrow could make that situation even worse. They are expecting around 500,000 people to arrive in Spain from overseas for this event, because Spain is one of the places in Europe where it will be most visible. They will see a total eclipse of the sun at some point tomorrow. Julia Chapman, CBC News, London.
As we heard, a rare solar eclipse will be visible in some parts of Europe on Wednesday, and a scramble is on to get ready.
I want to watch the eclipse tomorrow, so getting the line takes a long time, but super excited to get the glasses.
People have been lining up outside shops across the continent where protective glasses are still available. Many stores have already run out. Without them, anyone looking directly at the eclipse could suffer permanent eye damage. A total solar eclipse will be visible in parts of Spain, Greenland, and Iceland when the moon passes directly between the Earth and the Sun. A partial eclipse will be visible in the rest of Western Europe and in most of Canada. When we return, an update on the firefighting efforts against the Bald Range wildfire in BC's southern interior. That's next. The Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen provided an update on the Bald Range fire near Summerland earlier tonight. Our Jana Bailon joins us now with the latest. Jana, how are evacuees doing?
Janella, Summerland Mayor Doug Holmes says he's been at the evacuation center every day and that people are understanding of the need to stay away. They understand the severity of the situation and the work that authorities need to do. But it's now been days since the fire broke out, and he said it's taking a toll.
I think people are getting a little more frustrated and impatient, but you know, maybe that's after 3 days. That's understandable, you know, these things kind of go up and down, right? And so we're just kind of, you know, after 3 days, you start to get fed up a little bit, and you don't want to. You just want to go home, and I just want to go home. We all just want to go home, but you know, it's hard to get your head around, because you know intellectually and rationally that it's not safe and there's a job there to do, but at the same time you can't help but you don't want to be here. So I get it, you know, and everybody, I think most people understand that, but it's very emotional. It's very emotional for everybody.
And Jana, we know this fire has affected people who live in Summerland as well as communities around Summerland. Do we know when people can come home?
It remains unclear, Janella. Officials say they're still in a response phase, although plans for re-entry are underway. Properties need to be assessed. And according to the mayor, the fires are still ongoing and things will take time.
Basically, what I tell people is that it's still, it's not under control yet. And until it's under control, you know, it's unpredictable, it's volatile. We don't know what's it. And we know it's still burning within Summerland itself. It's expanding outside Summerland, but it's also still burning in Summerland itself. The landfill's on fire. We know that. So it's not. And until it's under control, we can't even think about you know, going back in. And even then, we have to make sure it's safe.
Officials are also reiterating that they need to prioritize people's safety when it comes to giving out temporary access permits. They're asking people to be patient and that they're doing everything they can to ensure people can return home as soon as it's safe to do so. Janella?
Thanks so much, Jana.
This weather update is brought to you by Elections BC. Local elections are this fall. There are rules for advertising, and Elections BC is here to help.
Steve Jung is back with another look at our weather. And Steve, those wildfires really causing a lot of smoke for some areas.
Yeah, absolutely right, Janella. It's going to be a pretty smoky one in the coming days, and air quality is going to continue being a concern. But let's take a look at what we have on this map behind us right now. Now, according to the BC Wildfire Service, currently still over 100 fires burning around the province, just under half of that under control, 4 wildfires of note, and the smoke conditions that have been kind of really been plaguing the interior part of the province for several days now. We actually see a little bit of a shift as we get to the midweek point, and that's because of an elongated low pressure system over the interior that is now forcing that smoke to move out of the area and towards Metro Vancouver and parts of Vancouver Island. So those smoky conditions that we were talking about, we can expect some of that for Metro Vancouver tomorrow and Thursday, and likely to last as we get closer to the weekend. But as we get through the midweek point, another thing that we are watching is the possibility of precipitation in our forecast. We see as we begin Thursday, some systems forming over the southern parts of the province, including the southeast. And then as we get through Thursday and then into Friday, we'll see more of these systems forming over southern parts of the province, these areas which are really dry right now. But it doesn't look like accumulations will be too high, but it is something that we are watching. It is something that at the very least could actually help with that air quality, the poor air quality that we're seeing in these areas that have really been affected by the smoke. But as we take a look at conditions for tomorrow, another thing that we're keeping an eye on, the possibility of thunderstorms. We can see that in the Peace region, parts of central BC, as well as the southern interior and also the southeast of the province, combined with the dry and hot conditions that we have, the limited precipitation that we are expecting. BC Wildfire Service is warning of the potential of more fires started by lightning. And as of right now, with the fires still burning in the province, BC Wildfire Service estimates about 3/4 of those are believed to have been started by lightning strikes. Now, we did see some of that earlier today in the province, mostly concentrated in central BC, some in the northeast, and actually missing southern parts of the province. But let's take a look at the 5-day forecast for Metro Vancouver. A chance of showers for us on Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud on Thursday, some more showers for Friday, and a mix of sun and cloud with temperatures for the most part in the low 20s as we get through the weekend. Janella.
Thanks, Steve.
My pleasure.
Coming up, 2 years after a monster wildfire wiped out a third of the town of Jasper, we check in on the challenges of rebuilding an economy tied to tourism.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
They're big, fun, nostalgic, quirky, and beautiful. The search for BC's best roadside attraction is now on. We've put together the top can't-miss pit stops in a head-to-head elimination bracket. Be sure to vote for your favorite at cbc.ca/BC Search. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC's e-newsletter and keep connected with us.
A diver in Italy has made an exciting archaeological discovery off the coast of Sicily. It's an ancient Roman shipwreck believed to be more than 2,000 years old. Megan Williams explains why this find is so special.
What makes this discovery so extraordinary isn't just what was found, but how it was found. Not by a scuba diver, but by a free diver, Giacomo De Mola, who made the discovery in one single dive after his radar picked up what he called a kind of strange rock. He did the dive about 50 meters down below sea level. He said visibility was very poor, and at first he really couldn't make much out other than this large, dark shape.
And I say, okay, a rock, but it's a strange rock. But what is this? And then I see this is like geometrical stuff, and they say, no, this is definitely not a rock. and I at that point I reached the bottom. I was like close, very close, 1 meter from them, and I say, I see all these amphoras, and I realized that there was amphoras, and was really, really big emotion. Even that I didn't realize in that moment how important this could be.
What he was looking at was an ancient Roman shipwreck that had been sitting on the seabed for more than 2,000 years. It was holding hundreds of amphorae. Those are those long clay jars that Romans used to transport everything from fish sauce and olive oil to wine. Archaeologists say the form of these amphorae likely indicate that they once held wine. Now, the ship is believed to date back to the 1st century BC. It's roughly the length of 2 city buses. De Mola and his friends immediately contacted Sicily's underwater archaeology authorities. They came later to confirm the wreck, and they also found a lead anchor and other remains that they're investigating. Italy's cultural ministry says that this is one of the most important underwater archaeological discoveries of recent years here in Italy. Megan Williams, CBC News, Lucca.
It's been 2 years since a wildfire destroyed significant parts of the tourism economy in Jasper, Alberta. The disaster wiped out about 30% of the town, including accommodations and major tourist attractions. But as the CBC's Maggie Kirk tells us, visitors are coming back and spending more.
The streets of Jasper are filled with summer tourists, but how is the visitor economy really doing 2 years after the wildfire?
So far this summer, we've actually seen really good momentum in visitor and visitor growth.
Parks Canada says visitation is on par with last year, and within 5% of the same period the summer before the wildfire. Evil Dave's is in the north end of town, which escaped much of the physical damage from the fire, and it's surrounded by hotels.
This is one of the first summers we've had to have reservation-only signs up, and at first it was a bit of a staffing challenge, but now it's just the compression. There's just more people than we can feed in an evening.
Jasper lost roughly 20% of hotel beds and about a third of its campsites to the fire. So with less supply means some overnight accommodations have become more expensive. The summer tourist season in Jasper accounts for 80% of economic activity for the whole year. So it's important visitors are spending. Riopel says making Jasper a year-round destination is key to the success of the visitor economy. Marmot Basin Ski Resort keeps Jasper ticking in the winter, especially with regional tourists. And operators like Lisa Dara notice Albertans are stepping up for Jasper's recovery. Dara lost her storefront in the fire and now operates out of a shipping container in Jasper's pop-up village. But she's pausing winter operations for the first time in 16 years because she still can't access Maligne Canyon.
For Jasper, it was a significant attraction, so we are all, have all felt the financial strain of not having Maligne Canyon accessible to us.
The majority of the park is open, but recovering those lost attractions is a main priority.
The reestablishment of those visitor experience infrastructure components is the most important aspect of what will contribute to Jasper's continued economic recovery.
And Butler said that could take anywhere from 3 to 10 years. But even at the 2-year mark, the visitor economy is rebounding. Maggie Kirk, CBC News, Jasper National Park.
Just beautiful. Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News. To keep up to date with all the latest news, you can always visit our website at cbc.ca/BC or download our free CBC Gem app. I'll have your next local news at 11 o'clock right after the national. Good night.